Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today I will be making a death course for my friends to run through, and the winner will get a prize. So I started off with kind of just building the course. So I started building a nice little house, and I tried to make it inconspicuous by obviously adding nice things inside to make it seem like it's just a normal house and there wouldn't be any traps inside. So you can see I added a door here. It's a two-way door. And I added some chests, a bed, and a furnace. So for the first trap, I decided I was going to do a harming arrow trap, which would spam harming arrows on you once you walked through. Now you may be able to tell that I was struggling a little bit with the redstone in the beginning, trying to figure out how I could make it look kind of hidden, but in the end, I got there. So my first idea for the spamming, for spam arrows that you didn't work, but I ended up just changing it to a quick observer clock, which worked flawlessly. It was great. So now it's time to test out the trap after adding a quick barrier. So I went to survival mode and walked through, and just like that, everything worked perfectly. You would walk in, and you should take a hit or two of damage. So then after cleaning up the house a little bit and fixing everything, I decided to make a way to make it down to a second section. So for this, I decided to put a chest or a button under a chest, which would open up a piston, which would bring you down. As you can see here, it works perfectly. And when you go down, you'll be greeted by a beautiful pyramid, a desert pyramid, which I will start building now. So I started building the actual desert pyramid. Now there were a few problems with it, like I wouldn't be able to make it completely square, and the entrance was a little bit off-center, but it was okay because I fixed it later on and made it look a lot better. So after a few minutes, I finished it and decided that I wanted to make the walls sandstone. So after a few quick commands, I made it where the whole thing would be just the walls would all be sandstone to give them more of a desert feel. So then I filled in an entire section with lava and then started experimenting with parkour blocks. The drip leaf didn't work very well, so I just decided to do sandstone. So I actually decided to put some skeletons to shoot them off, but they ended up despawning, and I'm glad they did because it would have been way too hard if they were still there. And here, I decided to add some turtle eggs, so it'd be almost like time, so they'd have a certain amount of attempts. In a few attempts, I actually had to replace them because they broke all of them, but it was okay. So I finished the rest of the course without recording it, sorry. But here's a quick tour of the course. First trap, we obviously have the arrow trap. It works really well and it got a few people out. You can see it's filled to the brim with arrows. And then they would press the button and they would go down into the pyramid section. You can see here. There's the button and stuff. Then when you press it, you go down here. I ended up adding a spawn point, and the runners would go through the course, and if they successfully did it, they would go up the ladder, like this. You go up the ladder. Sorry for bad voiceover and stuff. Yeah, then they would be greeted by pick a side. So the left side would have lava, and the right side would have water. And then the water, when they opened the chest, they would be able to swim through the water and go to here. Now, here they have to craft a jump boost 2 potion. And you're wondering, could they just jump out? No, because there are honey blocks which prevent them from jumping. Here, these saws, stone cutters, actually deal damage to you. It may not look like it, but I made a special command that'll make it deal damage. And then this is the end. When they open the chest, it'll actually drop TNT. Later on, I ended up adding snow blocks that they can go through, and that'll be the actual prize. As you can see here, I'm going to go into survival mode and show that the saws do actually deal damage. See, when I go on, in 2 ticks, I die. So it's very powerful, and people really need to be careful about it. And now it's time for the first contestant. But before we do that, let's look over the rules. 1. No breaking / placing blocks unless told to by sign. 2. No cheating or hacking. And 3. Have fun. P.S. All runners were given 1 hint if they needed it. The first contestant is Cowpod, one of my best friends on the Lovercraft server, so I had to give him a try. So, at the start, he had a really solid start dodging the arrows completely, but he ended up staying in this house for 3 minutes. He just couldn't figure out where the button was. He just kept going in and out, trying to figure out what to do. He was really confused. But he had an idea, and it's actually a very interesting idea that I didn't think of. He started using the arrows of harming on the ground to check if there were any hoppers under the carpet that would open something up. Now, he was overthinking it a little bit because I didn't even think of this. So, it was kind of a surprise when I saw him do this, because it was a very smart idea that I might actually implement in if I do any more of these. But eventually, he found the button, and after pressing it, he went down to stage 2. I reminded him to set spawn point, so he went down, had to go back, and he did, luckily. So he started the parkour, but also got stuck here a little bit and died way too many times. Here's a quick little montage of that. And of course, I had to taunt him a little bit, because, taunt them, it'll make you scared. But after a few attempts, he finally made it up and across the course and made it to the ladder. He struggled at first to pick a side, and was going back and forth between options, but then eventually chose the right side with the water. He actually got a little bit confused and he didn't know what to do next. But eventually he started sprinting and got in swim mode. And oh, what's that? Sub, please. You know what to do, guys. Press the sub button. And now he was at the potion part. He took way too long here. He got stuck here for like 8 minutes just crafting the wrong potions. And it really hurt my soul having to watch him make the wrong potions. And it was ridiculous. If he hadn't taken so long here, he could have probably gotten a much better time than he actually did. So here's a quick little montage of him making the wrong potions. Messed up about 3 or 4 times, and potions take a while to make.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
But then finally, after way too many attempts, he managed to get the right potion, Jump Boost 2, and progressed to the next section of the course. Now, he could already tell that the saws would hurt you, and eventually made it to the chest part. He went down, but got squished too much by the TNT minecarts, so I teleported him back, and he made it back down there, and got a final time of 643, putting him in first place because there were no other contestants. Next up, we had Jasper Legend 1, my best friend on the Lovercraft server. He had a very good start, passing the harming arrows and taking no damage. He very quickly found the button and had no hesitation in pressing it, except it did take him a while to figure out how to press it. If you couldn't tell, he got stuck trying to press the button for a while. You can see him here struggling, and when he finally got it, he wasn't standing on the block, so it took him about another 10 seconds to be able to press the button again. But when he finally got it, he made it through and started the parkour. It took him a long time to do, but eventually, after a few attempts, he finally made it through. You can see here he's on the last jump, and he makes it straight on the ladder. Now here, he was just untrustworthy of the sign. He didn't know what to think. He was indecisive. He couldn't tell, he didn't know, do I choose left or right? But eventually, after thinking for a long time, he chose the correct one. He went right and immediately saw that he could just swim through the hole. And he looked back at what? The sign that says sub, please. Yes, I'm going to do this the whole video. That tells you to sub. Anyways, after lagging a little bit, he started making the potions. And he did this surprisingly quickly. It didn't take him that long to do it. He did it pretty much first try. I helped him out a little bit because the commands were broken, so I just gave him some of the stuff that he needed, and eventually he went through at record pace. As you can see, he quickly made jump boost 2 and went right through to the next section. He jumped right over and set a spawn point. He started going through, and he died because he must have just not expected it. He knew now and started jumping over all of it. He was going really quickly, and it looked like it could have easily beaten Cowpod, his first place lead. He didn't trust the chest, but decided to open it and actually fell through with the TNT minecarts trapped. When he opened the chest, that finished his time, and he got a fantastic time of 6:08, putting him in first place, completely shattering Cowpod's time. Next up, we have Cloak 09K. He had a very good start, avoiding all of the arrows, and found the button surprisingly quickly. And as most people do, he struggled a little bit with the parkour. But after a few attempts, he actually managed to do it. You can see here, I thought he died, so I went back expecting him to respawn there. But when I looked back, he was still alive, and he had just beat the parkour. But unfortunately, he was so close to getting the water. He would have made it, and he would have taken the fire off. But you can see here, he left the game and rejoined. Reason being, he had a big storm in his area, so you're going to see him disconnect a lot. Anyways, after that very, very disappointing and sad thing, only 2 attempts later, he did it again, and he had already made it back to the ladder where he was, and just YOLO'd it right to the correct one. There it is, the sub please sign again. So it seemed like he already knew what to do. He was searching and he saw there was no cauldron. Now, one thing that is kind of suspicious is that it seemed like he already knew the course a little bit. But it's okay, it's okay. So he started making the potions, and after struggling a little bit, I asked him if he wanted this hint, and he said yes. After telling him the hint, it took him still a few more attempts before he could do it. Now, because he was disconnecting and reconnecting so much, I decided that I would remove 1.5 minutes from his time. So As you can see here, after a few attempts, he finally got the jump boost potion 2, jump boost level 2, and he was able to make it to the second section. See here, he reset spawn point and started here. And it's actually kind of unfortunate because he spawned right on top of the saw that killed him instantly. I don't know why that happened. And he did something pretty smart. He opened the trapdoor, which I didn't expect him to do. So I told him to go back because he wasn't supposed to do it, but honestly, it's okay. He eventually did it, and he must have just, yeah, after doing something, made it down and opened the chest. And after deducting the time, he got 953, putting him in second place. Next up, we have Grifton 1. So he had just gotten scammed for $200,000 in Lovercraft, so he was a perfect person here. He quickly avoided the harming arrows and got a little bit confused where he had to go. After looking around and opening everything for a little bit, he saw the button and knew exactly where he had to go. So after successfully pressing the button, it took him a while to do, he got down, and just like that, he was at the pyramid parkour. Now, it took him a while to get very far. He struggled a bit, and he kept dying and dying and dying. But after a few attempts, he finally made it, although it took him quite a bit. And like I said, after a few attempts, he finally made it, and YOLO'd it into the right one, where the water pulled him off of the fire. Then he was at the potion part. This one took him a while, and after many failed attempts, finally managed to get somewhere. As you can see, he actually did like a very, very smart play that I didn't expect anyone to do. He set his checkpoint at the bed and decided that like he had to figure out a way how to die so that he could respawn there. Seems like it was kind of an accident, but he ended up dying and respawning on the other side. You can see I expected him to respawn there, but he actually respawned in the saw part because he set a spawn point. Now he did end up dying, and after going through a little bit, he made it to the end, and you may be thinking, oh, this is the end. But no, he saw the TNT minecarts and got very scared. This was a turning point. This went from a first place run to like a failed run. He couldn't trust it, so he decided to go back, and this is where everything started going downhill. He went back because he didn't know where to go. He thought maybe he forgot something at the potion area, and yeah, eventually, after making the correct potion or just dying, he made it and saw that TNT minecarts were gone because I removed them, and he went down. He opened the chest, ending his time and giving him a final time of 9:15, with 1 minute added because he already ran through the course. After checking the leaderboards, I concluded that he had gotten third place at this current moment in time, meaning he was still eligible for a prize. Last but not least, we have Ballrog Riz. He had a great start, avoiding all the harming arrows at the first trap. Now he was a little bit confused and was looking around to see if there were any hints to help him escape this first part. He eventually saw the button and pressed it, allowing him to go to the second stage, the pyramid parkour. Now, he did the parkour almost flawlessly, although on his first attempt he did fail. But luckily, he managed to recuperate and get back in the game. As you can see, only 2 attempts he managed to make it to the pick a side one. He went up the ladders and decided to pick a side, but he did it smart. He opened them before going in. So he saw that it was water and he walked right through. So, over here, he started making the potions. Now, he did this one surprisingly quickly. Like, it didn't take him that many attempts. So you can see I did help him by giving him the rabbit's feet and stuff, but he didn't jump out. You can see here, I was giving him a few hints and stuff like I did to everyone else, and he actually messed up the first potion. But after a little bit, he made the right potion, the jump boost too, and made it to the second part. He reset his spawn and started going through. Now, this one had potential for a first place finish. All he had to do was not mess up here, and he could get it. He went through, he opened it, and he saw the TNT. He didn't know what to think of it, but he didn't know what to do, and he decided to go back. This was the end of a potential amazing run. This run went from amazing to just a fail. He eventually went through and eventually came back and went through the snow. He opened the chest and ending his time, giving him a fantastic time of 6:16. And now the moment you've been waiting for, the leaderboards. This put him in second place, meaning Jasper Legend 1 was the winner. Congrats, Jasper. And I paid everybody after this. Thank you for watching. Subscribe. Goodbye.